going to be a lot. Oh, I need Photoshop open. So as we wait for that, I'm just going to create a political plane. And I have this. And we've already talked about what size images are what we need to actually create our textures, what size they are. So I'm going to make this a square. And this is not all tiling. This is not the end all be all of texture mapping. I'm just creating a quick texture map because it's kind of an easy way to get started very quickly, and then can rely a little bit heavier on Photoshop at this point. Alright, so what we're going to do is when I'm looking to see what size this is. It's 2000 by 2000. That's not a size we're going to use, so I'm going to go to 2048 by 2048. That's going to scale it up some. Not by a huge percent, but we're going to end up sharpening it, smart sharpening it afterwards. Now what I'm going to do, filter, other, offset, 2048 by 2048. And I am going to clone where I have these edges. And then this, I'm going to mask it. And paint. Some of the edges of my mask. So I get it so it looks like it's all kind of nicely melding together. Maybe some at the top. Yes. Yeah, go ahead. And then I'm going to merge it down, filter, I'm going to do a smart sharpen. Maybe something like that. Ooh, that's too much. Bring it down. Alright, that's not bad. So, this is my base texture, file, save as. Let's say this as TIFF. So this is more of a diffuse map. However, if I want to try to make it more of an albedo, which is for games and working with PBR, then there's a couple of things I need to do. And it's not the end all or be all, and there's some things that I do that may not be exactly right. But I'm going to sample a color. I'm going to take this, duplicate it, and then I am going to inverse it, soft light, and then I need to play with its levels. And what I'm trying to do is get rid of its shadows per se. here. This one that we sampled. Maybe so that we get that, and maybe we have to bring this down as well a little bit too. Now also, if I want to pull some specularity out of this doesn't really work for Maya, so I'm thinking of more engines at this point. I'm going to take this, I'm going to create an alpha channel, paste in place, and then also I can use this to control my specular. And I'm also going to want to inverse it. Say that's a 2, no layers, and this would be my albedo. Now, file, save as. I'm going to use, well, no, I said I was going to use this one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a normal map, and I'm going to use the built-in filters in Photoshop for it. So I can create a bump map from my image, I can create a normal map from it. Bump map is a black and white image that dictates height. It doesn't actually create height, but it gives you a tactile feel of what that surface should be. And then we have a normal map, which does the same thing, but it gives you more information than just a default bump map. And we may have to because I had that for something else. And that's what we got. That is crazy. So let's do this again. Generate bump map. Okay. And I think it's because of this. So let's get rid of that. Let's try it again. Alright, I guess I'm going to do this by hand. So if I create a bump map, levels, I'm going to kill my hue and saturation. Still going to be an RGB image. Image adjustment levels. And then if I want to kind of soften everything, I can do just a Gaussian blur. If I need to, or I can just bring down my levels. And from here, we have a normal map. So file, save as, and I'm going to save this as my normal, no layers, no alpha. Now, I'm going to open up my, okay, yeah, that's okay. So what I need to do is create a roughness, And we're going to do kind of the same thing. I'm going to bring this down, kill the hue and saturation, play up my levels. Cool. File, save as, and we'll say this as no layers, and this will be our roughness map. And now I need to create a occlusion map, which I'm going to have to go online for. So yep, this is what I've been using. Let's bring that down. I need to get these in here as a web acceptable image file format. So I'm going to open up my normal. Actually, I'm going to open up, yeah, I'm going to open on the normal. File, save as. I'm going to save it as a PNG. No compression, no interlace. I was looking for my height map. Okay. Now I'm just going to use my actual image. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to backtrack for a second. I'm going to open up my diffuse again. I already have it. Okay, cool. Image, hue saturation, bring that down. Now I'm just going to change this into a book map, but not the one I had before, one with just some more detail. Something like that. File, save as. I'm going to save this as a PNG. This desktop PBR, and we're going to wait for a second. There we go. Cancel. And I'm going to use this to create an ambient occlusion map, and I'm going to make my own displacement map. So here, click on ambient occlusion. I'm going to say this as rock OCC. Download. And then here, I'm going to blur this again. Blur, Gaussian blur. Image, and probably bring down some of my levels, actually my whites. Maybe bring up my grays a little bit. There we go. File, save as. This is going to be my displacement. And then we need to grab this one here. Copy this to my desktop. Should work on my desktop, that's okay. And we're going to PBR. And we're going to put it in there. Now, we're not going to have time to get this into an engine, but I can at least show you what it looks like in Maya for some of these. So I'm going to create a new material, right click, material attributes, and I'm not expecting you to do this yet because I haven't really worked with you in Maya just yet. But Lambert, file, here, and I want my rock, I'm going to use my diffuse. Hit the 6 key, show my texture. And the reason why it's tolerable is because I can tell it to repeat as UVs, and it should tile without a seam. Doesn't mean it's not going to repeat and look that way, but that's the reason why it's called a tolerable texture. Now, I'm also going to put in my normal map that we've created. Tile it the same amount as well. You can start to see it there. Let's bring this up just so it is. And it gives you the look of kind of what the rock of that field without changing it. And then we have other maps that basic Maya shaders don't really work with. And then we can put some more of that in there, but we're going to probably have to save that for another day. Okay? What questions do you have?